Meta.
Meta.
Hey guys, what's up? It's your man P. And lately there's been a lot of talk about metaverses, digital real estate, cryptocurrencies, and NFTs. Sounds like a brand new holiday melody. Pretty much since Facebook made their announcement several weeks ago that they were going to officially rebrand the company, not call it Facebook anymore, but instead call it Meta, because they're seeing the future of the internet being a simulated world, just like a metaverse. And they've taken this move so seriously that they've directed thousands of their employees, I think it's like 20 or 30% of their workforce, towards building this new reality and this new world. And they're literally spending billions of dollars, so you know it's a very serious bet. And of course, because now that we're talking about worlds and we're talking about buildings and we're talking about land, real estate, even though it's digital, of course I'm going to talk about it on my channel. Now I can start branching out and talking about different things other than physical, actual real estate. It's a new partnership now between Facebook and Microsoft to sort of deliver this digital workplace, and obviously this has all been accelerated by the pandemic. It's even more now in the mainstream because of Facebook, and we're hearing about it literally everywhere. But we'll dig into a little bit more of that right after this. And we're back. So the announcement that was made from Facebook, or Meta, it's gonna take a minute for me to get used to calling them Meta. And you know, everyone's talking about it, right? Especially from an investing point of view. Does it make sense? Should you buy digital land? If you are already in crypto like Bitcoin or Ethereum, I mean, there's a really good chance that you could go in that direction. If you don't have any Bitcoin, you're not interested in Bitcoin, you're probably not gonna be so interested in this topic today. I still encourage you to stay with us as we break it down and chop it up, and whether this could potentially be a good piece in your portfolio. Obviously, you don't want to be gambling all your money if you're going to buy digital real estate, but maybe it could be wise to have a small piece of it and see what happens in the next couple of years. It's starting to become quite expensive in the metaverse. And so for those who haven't been following the crypto and the Bitcoin story, well, people have gotten very, very rich over the last little while, especially during the pandemic for some odd reason. And of course, the origin story of Bitcoin was that it was created as a hedge against inflation because all our governments are printing a lot of money, which basically devalues the money, brings up inflation, which basically means your dollars can't buy as much tomorrow as you were able to buy yesterday. And then of course, because Bitcoin is only in limited supply, you know, there's only going to be ever 21 million coins, and right now there's about 18 million in circulation. So they're still mining and they're still digging them out. For those of you who aren't aware, we are now pushing around 60,000 US dollars per single Bitcoin. I really feel bad for the guy who used Bitcoin to buy pizza. And I think it's kind of safe to say that Bitcoin might be here for a while longer, and it might be here to stay. And if it ends up staying, we're gonna have more people piling into it, and maybe it's gonna reach $100,000 a coin. What happened was, for people who believed that story years ago, who either bought cheaper or maybe bought when it was basically free, are absolute millionaires and maybe even billionaires now. And those are literally called crypto whales, where they didn't have to do anything. They just had to buy it, hold onto it, and you know, have some sort of conviction to hold it for such a long time, which is actually the challenging part when it comes to investing. Okay, well, so how does this pertain to digital real estate? Well, it's kind of the same idea, right? Actually, there's more work to do with digital real estate because potentially you could rent it out, you could build a skyscraper, or maybe you could build the sickest office tower and then people could hold conferences and meetings in your building, or you could create the new Las Vegas, or you can build another Times Square, but 10 times the size. Back to the idea of Bitcoin being in only limited supply. Again, there's only going to be 21 million coins ever for Bitcoin, and then the game is done. It's over. And then at that point, it's just resale. What they've done in these metaverses is they've actually built these worlds with limited land as well too. And you know, they've gotten smart to it because, you know, originally when these metaverses were built, I think they were built with sort of unlimited ability, like no scarcity built in mind. All these developers and crypto guys and really smart engineers, they decided, you know what, let's just make everything in very limited supply, build it on the blockchain so that every piece of land is verified, there's an owner, and it can't be changed without all the other computers knowing about it in the blockchain. Because of this scarcity that's already built in, what's going to happen is it's going to make the real estate very, very expensive, maybe even more expensive than in real life. Which is crazy because here in Toronto GTA, developers are paying 30, 40, $100 million, I think even more than that now, to buy up land and actually build condos on. So again, in places like Decentraland, Sandbox, and even in Roblox, there's a limited supply of land. But there seems to be one problem, and that problem is are there going to be people in there? Are people going to want to spend time in these metaverses as opposed to real life? Is it really that valuable? So in the past couple of weeks, there's been an explosion in interest and chatter about digital real estate and buying up land in these metaverses. For example, tokens.com, which is a Canadian company, they recently broke a record and spent $2.5 million on digital land, digital parcels of land. Sounds like they bought a good one because it's in the fashion district, and the understanding is that apparel and retail is really going to blow up in this world. So imagine you can go in and sort of shop around and look at the products, maybe try them on, and it sounds like apparel and fashion is going to be one of the first ones to really take aim at the metaverses. And Nike has also made a pretty big move and a big play in getting ahead of the metaverses by joining up with Roblox and purchasing some land so that they could build a headquarters, a Nike land headquarters. The idea is that you can go in there, play games. For a company of Nike's size, spending a few $1,000,000 is not a big deal to them. It's potentially a long-term play, and it's really just a drop in the bucket for them. But if things really take off, we're talking about orders and magnitudes of investment. But at the end of the day, companies like Nike, they're not going to want to sell anyways. They're just going to sit on the digital land and make money and just do their thing. And so they've said that Nike is an immersive virtual experience where participants can perform sports activities and compete against other players in swimming, athletics, or parkour events. The buildings and fields within Nike Land are inspired by Nike's real-life headquarters and host detailed settings for the Roblox community to put their skills to the test by competing in various mini games. And so just in the last 1 or 2 weeks or so, we've had some pretty big news coming out regarding the metaverses, and we'll probably continue to hear other bigger companies getting in on the action early as well too. I think a really big play and a big attraction is instead of people jumping on a Zoom call, they might end up jumping into the virtual reality world where they can hold their business meetings, presentations, and conferences there. So again, a lot less business travel. So it sounds a little crazy, but it also sounds wicked at the same time. Remember when kids used to say that? But it seems the dominoes might be starting to fall right now as actual household brand names are jumping into the fray and trying to stake their claim as early and as soon as possible. But I think you could probably still buy some parcels of land for a few $1,000s. So if you've got a few $1,000s to spend, hey, maybe it could be worth a gamble. To answer the question on whether some of these digital assets in digital real estate could end up becoming more expensive than real life real estate, well, I guess the answer is we're not sure. We don't know what's going to happen, but we're starting to see some price points getting set, and it's already hitting millions of dollars. If this thing does really take off, we could be talking about 10x, 100x on your real estate investment, probably in less than 5 years, which is definitely the best investment you can make, but it's very speculative, very risky. I'm not an advisor, I'm not an expert in it, but I'm just starting to pay attention to it because it's definitely something interesting. I'm still not entirely convinced that people want to spend a significant amount of time in the simulated world, but again, I think one of those key factors and catalysts could be that companies like Microsoft are going to force their employees to use these digital assets, digital products earlier than everyone else. The idea was that when they created Bitcoin and Ethereum and all these other crypto assets was that they thought that it could replace the financial system, that it could actually be used in real life purposes. Turns out that's not really the case. And so to me, it feels like they're building these worlds and they're building these, simulated worlds because it's so hard to change in real life that it's actually easier to build these worlds, and so that they can create economies and currencies free of governments and so forth, which is certainly a very novel idea, but could also sort of end up being a speculation and an investment trap. Hey, but so if you've got some money to play around and it's not the majority of your portfolio, it doesn't hurt to try it out, buy some digital real estate. You can still rent it out. You can do things with it. You can build property on it. I've even heard that you can buy land and put up one of those billboard things and you could start renting out that sign as digital marketing and advertising when people are running around in these simulated worlds. Very, very interesting. It feels like the Wild Wild West again, the land rush of 1889, except this time it's not free. You actually have to pay for it. But if this thing really takes off, a few $1,000,000 might actually feel like it's free. And in this case, if you're renting out your property in the digital realm, you don't need to be helping tenants unclog their very real clogged toilets. It's so much easier. I don't know why I'm doing this video because it's like people are going to be doing transactions without real estate agents. So why am I doing this video again? But again, what we're really talking about here is the story, right? So if you believe the story, if you believe that this is where the internet is headed, leave us a comment below. Let us know what you think and why. Whether you're thinking about buying digital real estate yourself, and do you think the bullish case for digital land and real estate is justified? Then again, as always, if you need real help in real estate, in the physical, in the flesh and bones realm, then feel free to give us a shout here at Selling Toronto. We'd be happy to work with you. Whether you're buying, selling, downsizing, investing, upsizing, renting, whatever the case may be, all types of real estate, we got you covered. We even got you covered on commercial real estate. So I hope this video was mildly insightful and somewhat amusing. If so, make sure you hit the subscribe button, give us a like, like, and feel free to leave us a comment about your take on what you think the metaverses are going to be about and whether digital real estate is a good bet or not. But we'll see you guys in the next one. Thanks for watching, as always, and bye for now. And so just in the last few, chop it up, which is certainly a very novel idea, which is certainly a